China exports are still doing pretty well, but there's a big kerfuffle. Oh no, the European Union is investigating companies like Tesla for anti-competitive practices out of China. What does it all mean? We're Click and Clack. Welcome to my Tesla weekend.
Are you Click or am I Clack? I mean,
It's really unknowable since they're just radio voices. But Randy, welcome back. Good to have you.
I'm really happy to be here.
That's more happy than I expected. I'm a little concerned. Maybe we'll bring that down a notch.
Well, they are
we'll see.
They are complaining about my happiness. You know, people
No.
complain about my happiness. Yeah.
Nope. They've got a lot of complaints, Randy, but that's not one of them. By the way, guys, double check if you're subscribed because I've gotten reports from a couple of subscribers now who have said that they were subscribed and YouTube unsubscribed them. And I don't know how that works. I just know that apparently it's a thing. Double check. Appreciate it. I don't want to miss these updates.
I think that's happening to me too. I had 100,000 subscribers. Now I'm down to 16,000.
Now you're down to 16 subscribers.
16.
But boy, do those guys watch a lot of videos. It's amazing. And you can, for that matter, you can check Randy's channel. Make sure you're subscribed there too, or make sure you're not. Thankfully. So there's a bit of news. EU is concerned that China is engaging in uncompetitive practices when it comes to their subsidies on electric vehicles that are being sold into Europe. What have you heard?
You know, I haven't actually heard anything, but my first thought would be, what subsidies do they think that Tesla would be getting? Now, we know, of course, that the Chinese government is giving subsidies to the Chinese-owned companies, and we suspect that there's probably some additional subsidies of some kind that may or may not be really clear to some of the other Chinese-owned, of the non-Chinese government-owned companies over there. But I don't think it would be a real shock. I would be blown away if Tesla China is getting any kind of subsidy.
I don't know what subsidies Tesla would qualify for in China. There are ZEV credits in China, but those are being phased out. I don't know how many Tesla is still getting. I know there are other Chinese brands that have them for sale, but that's all within the domestic Chinese market.
Right.
And Tesla pays an ocean of taxes in China.
Yes.
That was the whole deal. We're going to let you buy the land at a steep price. You don't actually own it. You get a 100-year lease. And then you're going to have to commit to spending X amount of dollars and hiring X amount of employees and getting your tax base up to Y by the end of, I want to say, 2030. And if you miss any of those, we have the right to take the land back with the factory on it. It was a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
And Tesla did it. They've hit all their milestones, obviously, because they built out the factory as expected. They hired the workers as expected, and sales have gone better than expected. So all that's done and settled. Other people have compared it to, in the U.S., well, there's huge subsidies for EVs in the U.S. Shouldn't the EU be looking into that?
No, but I think they are. I think the European Union has been very unhappy with the United States for the IRA. What was that called? Some kind
inflation.
Of inflation reduction. Yeah.
Yes. Just call it what it isn't. That's a good way to do it. You got to be accurate, and so just pull a 180 and whatever that is.
Yeah, I think it was clear. I don't think that our president or any of the people that voted for it were ever unclear about what the purpose was. It was to bring manufacturing back to the United States and protect it.
Yes. And in that regard, I'd say it's been a success. We've got chip fabs, we've got battery factories, we've got a lot of it in motion, if not complete. But the thing is, those credits are only within the U.S. The U.S. is not a big exporter of electric vehicles.
Right.
And now you could say Tesla does sell a lot internationally, but those IRA credits don't go to cars built in Berlin or Shanghai. So is it the same thing?
Well, it's a slightly different problem in that Europe has always been a big exporter of cars to the United States. And so therefore they're saying, oh, this is uncompetitive because we no longer have the same market that we had. And not only are you giving Tesla and all these other companies a benefit on the front side as they're manufacturing their product. You're giving them another credit on the backside where the consumer gets $7,500 off too. So that's a pretty significant anti. I mean, I'm I'm a person who believes in free trade. Period. Just let it happen. Okay. Yeah, you can have some tariffs and some duties because you need the money for the treasury, but don't necessarily use them to do much restricting of international trade. Let it fall where it may. That's just me. I'm a pure capitalist. But um, if I was going to call something anti-competitive, I would have to call the IRA anti-competitive when it comes to Japan, South Korea, Europe, et cetera, the folks that typically do export their cars to the United States. Absolutely true.
And I would argue that if it is possible, the only car we're exporting from the U.S. at the moment, with the exception of to Canada, where we have a free trade agreement, is the S and X. But those are not getting battery credits. Those are not getting any back-end credits, I don't think, because the batteries are coming from Panasonic in Japan, not the factory in Nevada. So those cars, even though they're in very limited volume, are not getting any kind of benefits before they're exported.
Right.
And this whole complaint is that companies in China are getting big money to build these cars and then export them.
Right.
And Tesla does not appear to be getting any money. The only thing you could argue they're getting is preferential treatment, which is, I think, true and a fair claim. So, yeah, I don't know how they would. I don't believe that this story has any impact on Tesla.
Probably not.
And I don't see how it could.
Well, no. Oh, I'm sorry. It could have an impact on Tesla. The way it could have an impact on Tesla is that it could be something that hurts the other Chinese makers. So if they determine that there are unfair practices with regard to the NEOs and the SAICs, et cetera, then those guys might have their duties increased, or there might be certain restrictions, and that might increase the market for Tesla in Europe.
Wow, that's actually a pretty good point.
Oh,
now
good.
we've seen
one finally. Oh, my mom noticed one the other day, but
wow,
that's the first one that anybody else has noticed.
Wow. I'm just surprised that your parents are alive and mine aren't.
Oh,
I'm an orphan. What can I say? Yeah, one of those late orphan kind of things. So we've seen the China Passenger Car Association wholesale figures in China, and they've looked really good considering the Model Y line was unaffected by the recent retooling and upgrades. So those kept chugging along just fine. We've seen price cuts in Korea that will continue strong sales there. And the Model 3 ramp appears to be going really well. Does that surprise you?
Well, did the numbers today, what was 13.7 or 13.8,000 for this week?
I think it was 13.8. Yeah.
13.8. I think that was a very good number. I think that was a surprisingly good number, especially when, as you point out, I think a lot of the Model 3s, to the extent they're being built, are being put on ships because I guess that way the Europeans will be getting them, let's say, October 1st, and then the Chinese will be getting theirs October 1st out of the production starting next week. So then they're kind of getting them at the same time. I don't know if that's the purpose, but it might be. I don't know.
With this little time left in the quarter, I would assume that they would want to prioritize local deliveries already and wait until the last, 5 to 7 days to resume exports. I know they've worked to unwind the delivery wave. It still exists to a lesser extent. A lake can only get so calm. You're always going to have a ripple. The big thing is these cars sold in Europe are likely sold at a greater markup. So it's entirely possible that they want to fill that market as quickly and as disproportionately as they can while still moving every unit.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't make sense to, cut the price ridiculously in some markets and then focus on those markets too heavily.
Right.
It's all about, they're not losing money on a unit they sell anywhere, but they still want to maximize the dollars.
Of course.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything at all about actual sales numbers with regard to the Model 3 Plus?
I have not.
I
I have not
know.
heard. I have not seen any real numbers indicating what actual deliveries are. We know, we just know what the wholesale figures going out the door
Right.
probably are.
Right.
But in most cases, they're still mixed with the Y, which
Yeah.
is a bit frustrating
Right.
for number nerds like us. But and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter
No.
because no matter how accurate we are on a quarterly number, even if I said today I do have a crystal ball, here's the exact delivery figure for next week, I don't know what you would do with that information. I hope you wouldn't trade on it because I don't know unless the number is massively outside the bounds of what's expected, it's not going to move the stock. And especially long term, it won't move the stock because we'll already be into next quarter. We'll already be into the next model. And looking back 10 years, what if 10 years ago that quarter was 10% higher or lower as a blip? Would it make any difference to today's share value, to today's prospects?
No.
It's the same. It's the same. It's just a fun game we play, Randy.
It is. I mean, come on now. Don't you look at player stats?
Not anymore, but yes,
Oh.
I loved baseball for a while until it was discovered that my team was one of the ones that was just profiteering and had no interest in actually fielding a competitive team. It was all about the money.
I see.
And I was just like done. I was just done.
That was it, huh?
That was it. That was it. And a good thing because I've seen how onerous the new rules are on hesitating and calling just, you know what, you stood there too long. Point to Gryffindor. It's ridiculous. I don't understand the new rules. Pretty sure I got that right. So
Something like that. I think you were very close at least.
I was very close. And the baseball commission is, pretty terrible as an organization. And yeah, I've seen fewer asterisks in buggy code than I have in the Hall of Fame. It's fine.
I was looking for some way. I was hoping you were going to find some way to pull this back into Tesla. I was challenged. I was sitting there. Okay, let's see. How can I help him?
I did see a great comment. I don't remember if it was on X or on the comments on my channel. I think it was on X where someone said, to me, the real test of is a bot better than a human is, can he connect on a fastball? Can he connect on a slider? It's like, oh, that's going to be one of the last things solved, I bet, because the reaction time has to be very quick.
Everybody, since we're completely off the subject, and and it just occurred to me, it was an interesting story. Everybody, especially those who played serious ball in their teens or early 20s, go back and go ahead, take a try at the 60-mile-an-hour batting cage. I dare you.
Yeah.
Or try the 80-mile-an-hour batting cage.
I think so. When I was enjoying softball, I think the fastest I ever went up to was 40 or 50, and it was I could connect for fouls all day.
For fouls.
Yeah. Hopefully, wear out the pitcher, and get a walk. That's my strategy.
Unfortunately, the Ducks, you only killed a few, the fouls.
Oh. We have to go, Randy. I'm so sorry. I'm hearing that we're out of time. All right. So, guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Huge thanks, as always, to the patrons who are the reason this channel is able to exist. The reason I'm able to get to places like to see the Optimus bot in person, not a mannequin. It's a mannequin. So everybody else, like, subscribe, you know what to do. Check out Randy if you're, super bored and want to see some more of my content. No matter what you do, you got to get the Cybertruck bottle opener from Randy because he's selling it for 66% off of what Sandy's selling it for. And Sandy's using his to buy a Cybertruck, but Sandy's already going to buy a Cybertruck. That was never. It's just a fundraiser.
Well, buy one from Sandy and then buy 3 from me because it'll be 4 from me because it'll be the same price.
Same price, and then you've got gifts to give out to your loved ones.
That's absolutely right.
And stay tuned, stay juicy. Can't wait to hear from you, clever robots. Haha, robots. On the flippy
Oh,
flap.
good.